Dusty May brought dignity back to coaching. What have we seen in coaching? Well, I'll tell you what we've seen in coaching. We've seen coaches throw water bottles. We've seen coaches act like idiots. We've seen coaches slap other coaches. We've seen coaches do incredibly stupid things. Dusty May, guess what? Dusty May brought dignity back to coaching. His Florida Atlantic team, he texted me after the game. I said, man, great run. He said, I think we're going to be able to keep these guys together. You know what that means? That means all the little cretins out there are coming at Johnny Davis, who didn't have a good game, coming at his players. I hope they understand that not only are they a trailblazing team in college basketball in terms of winning, getting to the Final Four, coming from damn near nowhere, but they could be a special group for all time if they would do what, I don't know, maybe somebody like what Butler did, go back to Final Fours. I don't know. It's a fascinating thing. All right? Fascinating what Dusty May has been able to do. But more than that, Dusty May has been a bastion of dignity, humility, and what a coach should be. And congratulations to him for handling himself in that manner. The Trailblazers won. They were 19.5-point underdogs. Now, that is a little bit significant. Now, that's kind of fun because the NBA, my wife will tell you, the NBA is always, ladies and gentlemen, always fixed. But of course, my wife will tell you every sport is fixed. Every one. That's right, except for hers. She will say, look, it's fixed. Well, what about softball? Well, it's not fixed. Nobody cares. Okay, so every sport but hers is fixed. Well, I don't think this is fixed. I don't think every sport is fixed. It is the largest NBA upset in 30 years. They knocked off the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Trailblazers were missing 4 starters, including Damian Lillard. Had lost 11 of 12 going into that game. Second half, down 12. Timberwolves, not the greatest team, but they are involved in the playoffs. Sunday's game, the second largest upset in ESPN's stats and information database. The only other one was the Magic beating the Bulls when the spread was 21. How about that? Shaedon Sharpe scored 27. Kevin Knox 19. Next thing you know, third straight loss for the Timberwolves. Look, when we got something that is the second biggest in NBA, at least modern NBA history, I guess, you got to celebrate it. Stock up. Portland Trailblazers. Our girl, our favorite softball player, Teagan Shaw. Teagan Shaw is the best defensive third base woman in softball. We can't show the videos of Teagan Shaw, I guess, but we can tell you that if you go to Harvard Softball on Twitter or my Twitter, I'll retweet the plays that she makes. She's been doing this now for 4 years. And yes, I am biased. Yes, she's my stepdaughter. Yes, she's the lovely Lee Ross Dakich's daughter, but I don't care. I've said since she was in high school, she has the best hands defensively I've ever seen from a woman, well, I guess just a softball player. You can take the big fat guys that play slow pitch and put them in there too. Just spread it out. In all of softball, Teagan Shaw, thumbs up, stock up. She is awesome. Harvard swept Brown. Harvard is in second place. It looks like it's going to be Harvard and Princeton again for the Ivy League title and a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. 4-year starter, complete stud, and a wonderful woman. Gene Keady, ladies and gentlemen. Gene Keady made the Hall of Fame. Now, look, does his numbers deserve to go in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. He's a 5 or 6 time Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year, won Big Tens, never got to the Final Four, never won a national championship. People will hold that against Coach Keady, but Coach Keady did it in a state where you were going up against the man on the left, Robert Montgomery Knight, and he's the only coach that had a winning record against Knight. Why? Because he out-Knighted Knight. He out-Knighted us. He got players from the state of Indiana and made them better and better and better. He ran better motion than we did. He was tough but lovable on his players at a time when players were quitting at Indiana. Good players, Luke Record, Jason Collier. They were leaving this guy got him to stay and got him better. My college teammate, high school teammate, Jimmy Bullock, went to Purdue and became an all-Big Ten player after averaging less than a point as a freshman. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very happy for Gene Keady. Stock down, Dawn Staley. Dawn Staley, I understand you got beat. I understand, but if you can show where anybody, and I mean anybody, use the word monkeys to describe your team, then I will rescind this, I will apologize, and make it stock up. I love the fact that Dawn Staley decided that she was going to go after the media after her team lost. Fine, you want to do that. But did you make stuff up? Yes, street fighters is what they said. Yes, barroom brawl when you played. Those aren't necessarily derogatory terms. Those are, well, in the men's game, you kind of like it. I mean, what are they? The bad boys? Stop it. Anyway, next thing you know, Dawn Staley said they called their team monkeys. I would love anybody, anywhere, anytime that can show me that. I will rescind the stock down because, well, stock down is important to people. It permeates the entire country when I say something either positively or negatively. I'm being facetious. Joe Biden, just because this dude doesn't even work. We should all have a job like Joe Biden. Joe Biden has taken 40% of the time he has been in office, he has taken vacation. 40%. I want you to think about that. You tell your boss, hey, look, 40% of the time, I'm going to be out of here. I ain't working. 40%, well, you know, it's not like he goes on vacation and doesn't work. Well, all evidence to the contrary, nothing's really getting done. So Joe Biden will be on every week for a variety of reasons. This week, it's simply because Joe Biden decided that he, ladies and gentlemen, is going to always be on vacation, and Joe Biden decided that he is going to make this transgender love, making it seem as if transgender and the community of transgenders is under attack, which it clearly isn't. Just read up on it. Clay and I talked about it. Will and I talked about it. I've talked about it. When you read up on legislation being passed about transgender and certainly transgender children, it is for their own protection. In fact, if you live in a state where this legislation making it 18, unless you have serious dysphoria, I guess, 2 doctors saying it and your parental permission before you can have treatment to change your gender. If you think that's crazy, then you're nuts. If you think saying, look, 6th graders and below, we're not talking about sex in schools. You think that's wrong, you're nuts. You think that's an attack, you're out of your mind. But this is what this guy is promoting. And he's doing it in such a ridiculously tone-deaf, insensitive way where just days after a massacre occurred at the hands of a transgender person. It's ridiculous, it's idiotic, but it is on brand for America's worst human being to ever sit in the office of president modern day. Nixon and beyond. Nixon, I'm reading a book on him. Nixon was just dumb to involve himself with those idiot plumbers. That's Nixon's problem. Women's game referees. Women's game referees, you stunk. I don't know why you were there. I don't know why you got assigned that job. But whoever assigned you that job, you stunk. Now, women are always complaining about the men's game. Men get this, men get that. Okay, fine. Well, you ought to keep your house in order, Women's Basketball Committee, because while the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office may have been happy that you had 3 African-American women, I think that woman right there is African-American. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. But certainly that's what was told to me. If you think that that clears you, you're out of your mind. People aren't idiots. They see, ladies and gentlemen, that it was as an egregiously awful a called game as has ever been on the national stage. And I'm not just talking about against Iowa or against LSU. It just was. So the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office, kiss it. You got it dead wrong, and that's the only reason these 3, because I know people that are in officiating, and they saw my tweet, and they reached out and they said, not a chance. These 3 are the best. They just checked boxes. Shame on you, Women's Committee. Shame on you for not putting the best out there just simply so you can check boxes. That's horse crap. and you saw it. All right, the show Succession. I understand we're all supposed to like the show Succession. I watch it religiously. But my wife says this is all there is to it. Hey, what? Yeah, well, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we think, okay, what? Yeah. That's the whole show. That's all the show has become until the end when something happens. I watched it last night. I called Lee. She was driving from Boston to Syracuse. I'm like, you're so right. Don't watch it. I'm going to watch it. But when she started watching it, she's like, this show's dopey. All they do is talk in partials. Yeah, well, okay, yeah. You think? Yeah, me too. Dad. Stupid. I'm going to keep watching it, though. I'm watching Perry Mason. Perry Mason's pretty good. Highly recommend. Hey, thanks for watching Don't At Me with me, Dan Dakich. Make sure to like, subscribe, or click the notification bell for more of my beautiful face. Check out my full show to my right, or watch this other video. See ya.